Okay, is everybody settled in? My name is John Cataldo. I'm a CPA and a dental consultant. I see a lot of familiar faces out here tonight, including some clients. And I'm a local practitioner up in Jamison, PA. Just want to introduce my wife, Clara, who's been with me for about 25 years in the practice, my daughter, Angelisa, and my son, Johnny, who recently successfully passed the CPA exam last year. Work with me, have a couple of staff members at my office that have been with me 15 to 20 years. So we're a local firm. We basically practice, and I work with dentists all over the country. With the technology that exists today, you can do that. You can work with dentists, review their financial reports. One of the clients in here in the back has been a client of mine for over 20 years. And his brother is in La Jolla, California, and has been my client for a long time through using the technology that we have today. One of the things is that being in practice for 25 years and working with dentists is you kind of get like a bird's eye view of the issues that impact dental practices. And you get the bird's eye view to say, see, what has been done by some dental practices has been highly successful. And you get that same bird's eye view to take a look at dental practices that, for the most part, have made decisions that, for lack of a better word, have not been very successful, in fact, costly. And the issue is, whether you've been in practice 6 months or 30 years, practice management, being efficient, maximizing your profitability is something you should be dealing with today. Now, I'm not normally a podium guy, but tonight I'm going to use the podium a little bit because if you've seen any of my lectures in the past, you may have noted that I talk a lot about consulting theoretically. And if you've ever worked with a consultant, chances are you've dealt in a lot of theory. Theory about your collections, scheduling, purchasing, equipment, things of that nature. And whenever I do a seminar, I always say, you know, if you had to write a check for the inefficiency in your practice every week, I can assure you that you would start looking to get efficient right away. But you don't write that check. So when I do my lectures, I often talk theoretically about these issues too. And tonight, what I'm going to do for a change of pace on my seminars, if you look at your handout, I have something in part 3, which is called Practice Management, A Tale of Two Practices. It almost sounds like a movie. And in essence, it is a movie of the lives of two practices that we're going to look at. One practice, Practice A, is a very efficient practice. And Practice B is a very inefficient practice. Now you can say, you know, John, where'd you get these numbers? Well, I can tell you that where I get these numbers is from a myriad of different practices I've worked with over 20 years. And these are two very close cases of practices I have in this size. So I'm going to talk to you about reality, practicality, not theory. Okay? So before we get into looking at that financial, I want to refer you to Appendix A, Exhibit A rather, which is on page, what page is it on? Page 7, thank you, from the Peanut Gallery. I wrote an article last year for the Pennsylvania Dental Journal on practice efficiency and profitability. And let me just say this to you, and I'm sure there's people in here who have spent a lot of money, possibly on consultants in the past. You may even have gotten a real nice thick leather-bound dossier, and it's probably still sitting in the same spot collecting dust that it did when you first received it. You may have cracked the leather-bound thing and perused through it, but you didn't do anything with it. And that is a case I see time and time and time again. So I wrote this article basically saying that the reason this consulting doesn't work is that in order for consulting work to work, your business, and notice I said business. I didn't say dental practice, I said business. Because at the end of the day, this is a business. And your ultimate goal is, and believe me, I understand you're physicians, you do have a obligation and you were turned to something for treating and helping people, but you also have a profit motive, and there's nothing wrong with that. So in essence, you're a business. With that in mind, I want to talk to you about a couple of issues. And that's in section 2 called Establishing Practice Structure and Policies. And I want to tell you that unless you establish practice structure